Robb, what is best in life?
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women. Hey everybody, this is 10 Plated Talks. I'm Rob.
I'm Sean, and we're here with a handful of your questions and a few more stories that we came up with. Hopefully you'll like this one.
We can only hope. So our first question we got was about future games.
A couple of people asked this, where we plan on going in the future. One of the suggestions we got was asking about Telltale's games, Wolf Among Us, Walking Dead, yada yada yada. Rob is averse to that notion.
To answer the question, basically it's when Dark Souls 2 ends or gets close to ending, whatever's coming out that we can lay hands on, that's what we'll play.
Yeah.
It depends on how long it's going to take us to beat Dark Souls and what's coming out. Now,
we also got to finish Rochard and Rogue Legacy, but we actually like Rogue Legacy and Rochard, so we're not going to do 22 fucking episodes in a day.
Yeah.
We're never going to do that again ever anyway, so.
Yeah, for those of you asking about that, one of our viewers, who I apologize for not knowing the characters of his name, pointed out quite well, no, there will never be a Dark Souls 2 marathon. But the reason I played the Walking Dead game, I didn't like it. I don't like the art style, first off.
I'll agree on that point. I don't care for that particular art style. I didn't play Walking Dead, but I played Back to the Future, and they are kind of similar, different color balances, but
other than that, I don't like that style of game, these point-and-click, choose-your-own-adventures. And don't get me wrong, I played back in the day, Monkey Island and that sort of thing. But to me, video games have come so far since then that to still play, or to still make those is not an excuse. It's lazy. You can give me more freedom in a game now than you used to be able to, and I expect it.
I disagree. I really like those games, but I wouldn't do them on the channel anyway because we're not a channel that focuses on showcasing great games, although sometimes we do play some really good ones. We're not a channel that focuses on teaching you about games or even on showcasing great gameplay. We're just kind of a couple of jackasses fumbling our way around with a controller, generally with not a lot of skill. So there's that.
Yeah. But no, just for me personally, it's the reason that I don't think text-based games only are okay anymore. Because you can do better.
I play roguelikes and Dwarf Fortress, and I really like Dragon Realms and Simultronics games, and I learned to type really fast playing those, and I'm a gigantic nerd. And if I thought I could get away with it, I would do a video on the channel about Dragon Realms, which is entirely text.
Yeah, he showed me this one time. It's bullshit. Don't let him play it.
It's fucking great. I love it.
We got another question about traditions that our family has on holidays. This is actually from Hannah, our Tintern.
Yeah.
Who will receive a punishment for this.
Probably a bit of a leading question because, of course, we banter off camera too. So she heard the start of a story, and I think she's trying to get the end of it. So, fulfill the intern's wishes.
First off, you don't fulfill Tintern's wishes, you abuse them. But
No. You have to lull them into a false sense of security first.
Right. Anyway, well, I don't know about traditions. Like, me and my best friend get blackout drunk on Martin Luther King Day.
Blackout drunk.
Right.
That would be the technically only slightly racist.
It is in no way racist. That's a term applied to drinking.
Only slightly. I'd call it 0.5% racist. With 100% racist being a Klan hood and blackface. 0.5%. Easily allowable.
Fair enough. That's just something we do. Something my family does is, at our core, we very strongly dislike each other. And we express this through contrived social pressures. So, let's assume there's a holiday that we've all come to my grandma's house to eat. It's not big enough for 2 tables. We're sitting at the traditional family table. When my grandfather was alive, he was at one end, my dad was at the other, and I was at my dad's right side. My grandfather dies, my dad's at one end, I'm at the other. You see how this goes. Well, in case there are two tables, there's effectively an adults and a kids. The difference is you don't get to move to the adult table until your parents are dead. Because there needs to be a representative of your part of the family at the table. There's no reason for it to be you. So as long as you've got a living parent, you're at the kids' table.
So it's not so much the adults' table and the kids' table as the table and the council of elders.
Effectively, yeah. So, and when we are, however, sitting in the two tables, I get the head spot. Oldest of the main branch of the family. Well, my cousin's boyfriend, then boyfriend, now husband, because fuck that square-headed motherfucker. I swear to you, his head's a perfect rectangle. It has corners. I've never seen anything like it. He was sitting in my spot. And I said, hey man, you're in my seat. And I hate this answer he gives when people do it, because it's such a jackass thing to say. He goes, oh no man, it's cool.
If it were cool, you wouldn't have said something, for one. Second of all, you don't get to tell someone that their complaint is nothing to worry about.
Exactly.
Even if their complaint is full of shit, to them, no, it's not fucking cool, hence they're saying something. So I'm with you. That is a dickhead bullshit response.
Exactly. So I decide, well, it's the holidays. I gave him one. It's now time to proceed. I go in the kitchen and pull out the biggest knife my grandmother owns. Probably a sword, knowing her. I just come back and go, listen, there's 120 acres out there. I will spread you across one of them in 9 pieces. The fuck out of my seat. Him, apparently not used to someone pulling a knife on him, falls out and scurries off. I'm like, thank you. Put the knife back, have a seat, enjoy my food. Now, and see, that's the other thing. In regards to the food, it's very simple. As in my position, I expected to be one of the last people to go, with all the women going first, all youngest to oldest, and then all the men youngest to oldest, based on household. It's very, you have to see it. So you would think, oh, well, that's the advantage for the women and the children, because they get first choice. No. Because their bit of societal pressure is going first. Our bit is shaming them for taking anything but the littlest amount of food. Because it's greedy. Because what if there's not enough for someone behind you? So, whoever goes first, well, I guess I'll just take half of one of the 85 deviled eggs to make sure that everyone gets a chance at them. So, when I get to go last for my table, it's what? You guys aren't hungry? Well, okay, let me just scoop all of this into a bucket since no one apparently wants it and eat it like an animal.
All right, then. As far as traditions I've got, we talked for a while to think of something, and the only noteworthy event I can think from any family event was my parents had a big Memorial Day party once, and some guy was in a porta potty and they knocked it over. I was like 10 at the time, so I wasn't really privy to the drunken debauchery. I was in the basement playing, I think, Nintendo 64 at the time. I don't remember what was out.
Privy. Good one.
But so we talked about that. We fished for a while for that, what traditions I could have had to talk about. Then we tried to come up with other things I could talk about because we realized this was going to be a very Rob-heavy episode, like the last one. And we came to one undeniable conclusion. I'm boring as fuck.
Yeah, I was sitting here naming off, okay, did you ever have any big birthdays? What about, like, the 4th of July? That's a big one for people. Like, trying to hold his hand through conventional, exciting things. I'm like, well, one of the things, my grandpa makes super strong eggnog. It curdles in minutes. Anybody in your family do that? Well, no. Any of them get drunk and boorish? No. It took us 15 minutes of, okay, Arbor Day. Have you ever planted a tree?
No, actually. My family is tremendously boring. My mother does accounts payable for trucking companies and has for years through various different companies. My stepdad was a quality assurance engineer at a company that makes steel tube. Just tubes. No other steel products. Just tubes. My half-sister works at a tourist trap here. I have no idea what any of my grandparents ever did. Well, no, my grandmother was a nursing assistant for a while. My step-sister owns a cleaning company. That's it. We don't do anything. We are the most boring pile of people you can ever imagine. I don't have anything noteworthy about me. I'm just sort of here to play games, not especially well, not especially poorly. I'm just an angry, nerdy little guy. That's about it.
And in the same way that we discussed his boringness earlier in the week, it came up about superpowers. And Sean says that any power given to him, he's going to turn evil.
Or at the very least, I'm going to exploit it for personal gain to the most prodigious extent I can possibly come up with.
See, my thing is, if I'm the only one with powers, like in the entire world, yes, I'm going to be evil because there's nothing else to do. If a bunch of us get them, I'm going to be a hero because it's easier to be, in the spotlight than it is to run from the law. But when he said this, it got me thinking, well, what if you got a power that just could not be used for evil? Or any sort of malevolence? And true to his nature, anything I can... Okay, how about this? You can speak to animals, okay? But not like Aquaman where you command them. You are no more persuasive to them than you are to people. Possibly less if your argument's too complicated.
Okay. You know how, Caesar Milan and the Horse Whisperer and all those other things?
Mm-hmm.
All those crazy popular shows where they talk to the animals?
Right.
Well, if they can actually do it, you can come up with enough real information to make yourself seem legit. Because you are legit. But not all the animals you talk to are going to cooperate. But their owners don't need to know that. It'll basically I'll be doing hot readings as opposed to cold readings. Do you know what those are? They're
right.
It's a fraud technique. Cold reading, you look at someone, you read the signs, you say vague things, and make it look like you're saying these insightful things. Hot reading, you've actually got some information to funnel. And that's what I'd do. I'd do hot reading fraud and try to get a show on television or something.
Well, I mean, if I bring you my dog who won't stop pissing on the carpet, and you ask the dog, hey man, why are you pissing on the carpet? And the dog's like, because my owner's cologne gives me a headache, so I piss on the carpet. And you say to me, dude, ease up the cologne.
I would also charge an exorbitant price because I'm the only person who can provide the service. Right.
It's not malicious in any way. You're helping people.
Price gouging someone is not a noble act. You could argue that it is at least somewhat malevolent. Because I would not be charging a high price. I would be charging an unreasonable price.
Oh.
But I would be able to provide the results that no one else could.
Which makes unreasonable quite high. All right.
Oh, very. But most importantly, the Fraudster TV show that I could explode it for some small measure of fame.
Okay. Speaking of Aquaman, you can breathe underwater.
Okay.
But no, you're only as good a swimmer as you are now. If you go down too deep, your ears are still going to pop. If you're underwater, you can go, okay, I'm alive.
Well, I'd have to practice my swimming.
Uh-huh.
But, do you know about the free diving pearl divers?
Yeah, you can't use a tank because you could go down and clean out all the pearls.
Right, it's a law that they put into place in order to keep people from going down and taking every fucking pearl. Not beholden to that restriction, I would be obeying the letter of the law, but I would most certainly be disobeying the spirit of it, and possibly destroying a small branch of that country's economy, definitely devastating the ecology.
All right, I got one more.
Okay.
You have butterfly wings. Now, you don't fly because the wings are representative of your typical musculoskeletal structure. So you can flap them and maybe you go, a little. But since I'm guessing you don't do too many pull-ups, you're also not going to go soaring. How do you exploit the butterfly wings?
Well, I would say that's not a superpower. It's supernatural, super normal, but it's not a power if by definition they don't do anything super. Being able to flap some wings on your back, you can do that with silk wings.
But here's the thing, it's not that the power itself is at fault. Like, if I had them, I'd still be too fat.
It's not that...
But someone who's in great shape that had them could, in fact, achieve flight. But between the thyroid and things like that, you just...
So you're saying it's just a matter of being able to beat hard enough?
Precisely.
In order to support a human being, butterfly wings would have to be amazingly hard, which we can allow that if it's a superpower, but enormous.
Again, that's what makes them super.
Well, they'd
So
have to
how
be
do
like,
you exploit
well,
the
hang on.
wings?
They'd have to be like 100-foot wingspan. That's not a power. That's a mutation. That's a disability.
So, but
A deformity is not a superpower.
it is if you're the only one that has it.
No, it's still not a power. It's just something weird. It's like having a port wine stain on your forehead. Congratulations, Boris Yeltsin. No, was it Yeltsin or Gorbachev?
It was... I want to say it was Gorbachev.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Gorby. You're a superhero. No, you're not. You're just a freak.
But anyone can have one of those. You're the only... And again, like I said...
Anyone can have hair on their body. Not everybody is those Honduran twins that are covered head to toe and look like werewolves. It's not a power.
Think about like Angel from the X-Men if he was in horrible shape, so he was too fat to fly. Or he was too asthmatic to fly. His personal inabilities restricting the power...
So you're saying I would be able to achieve normal butterfly flight with practice?
If your thyroid didn't crap out on you. The same way like
if I now have wings, I have enough attention to be able to get better medical treatment to have better management of the condition. So that would take care of that. I would now be also able to finagle my way into getting a personal trainer to make a big advertising event where I fly. See, I'm once again exploiting it for fame and fortune. If, of course, I'm unable to do that, I still do have an angle. Not exactly honorable and noble.
What do you got?
Fetish porn. Fetish porn.
Okay, well, did not see that coming, so moving swiftly on, what's our next topic?
There's money in fetish porn. Comic books. We've been doing a lot of comic book talking. I've been reading my way through Marvel Civil War. Yes, I know. Welcome to 2009. Fuck you. Rob's been reading a little bit of it with me.
Solid series.
Which is, Rob generally is not a fan of Marvel, but, you know. And we're both talking about, Rob mentioned how he really likes these big comic book mega events, like the Civil War, like Blackest Night, was it?
Blackest Night, yeah. I love them because, and it's like I mentioned to Sean, in Civil War, in the Wolverine comic and the X-Men comic, the character Wolverine appears. But he's related. What he's doing in one leads into or follows what he's doing in the other. Whereas in a normal day, his adventures in Wolverine are utterly and completely unrelated to whatever the guy writing X-Men is having Wolverine doing.
True.
But when you bring them all together, you bring all the best minds in an entire company together and say, figure out a cohesive storyline, I feel like you get some of the best moments in comics. You know, with Blackest Night, literally everyone who had ever been a DC character and died came back as a Black Lantern.
Those are the corpse ones, right?
Yes.
Those are, Necron?
Necron, that's absolutely right. They came back as a zombie. And, I mean, everybody. Superman, Wonder Woman, fucking Vibe came back. Vibe, who...
Please tell me Vibe's power was the ability to shake slightly back and forth really fast and make a noise.
Vibe's power is being racist against Hispanics, especially, like, he was very stereotypical of, like, a Cuban in Miami in the 80s. And I want to say he was also gay. I'm not positive. I think they might have retconned that. But his whole deal is he was just this awful, awful Hispanic stereotype.
So like the guy Archer goes to kill in Miami?
No, because that guy was gay, but also just a respectable Cuban gentleman. This dude is just like a Cuban street punk.
I can't think of any stereotypes about Cubans specifically.
You know him when you see him. You know, like, he meets a white guy who is like becomes his friend, and he's like, "Wait till my grandmamacita meets you. I have a white friend," and just goes strutting through the barrio. You know, because
okie dokie
he's
then.
got this lily white buddy that is just the best thing ever.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Marvel did Marvel Zombies, which obviously wasn't on the same scale because it was like 8 or 10 issues. It was real short. Not great, but cool to see it. You know. I think it actually then had a longer run as a part of Army of Darkness, actually. The Army of Darkness comic. And yes, as in name's Ash, Housewares.
Right.
Shop Smart. Shop S-Mart. But fucking everyone was in that, too.
But yeah, but I just really think the best product is when they get all these really talented minds and artists together and say, figure out a cohesive story.
No joke. True.
So...
we're going to finish up with another installment of the great saga of Robb's trip to Birmingham cum Atlanta.
Let me see. Remind me where we left off. We would have just gotten in the city and gotten out of the taxi. Am I right?
Last week we got you to the city, but then we had, earlier than that, in like episode 2, put you in the taxi that drove the wrong way down the interstate. It happened! It happened! If you haven't seen the story, go back and watch episode 2. It happened. So you got out of the cab of death and...
Okay, so we get out, we get back to my car where we have a laptop, and we are trying to figure out what to do in a city that we are ill-prepared to be in. So job 1, steal some internet. So we think to ourselves, well, what are we going to do? Well, let's go to a hotel. They usually have internet. So we go to one, and a very nice one in Atlanta. I couldn't tell you where because I'm not good with directions, but it's a very nice downtown hotel.
Okay.
And we set up shop in the corner. And we are making a little progress when the desk clerk decides to hassle us. Now, you'll remember from the last installment, I'm coming off a big loss the last time I tried to deceive somebody. So
yeah.
I've got something to prove on this one. And yeah. So it's... I'm sorry, can we help you, gentlemen? Because we do not look like we belong there. And it's, yes, our friend's in from town. We're just going to go out for a little while, and we're waiting on him. Oh, and what room's your friend in? Oh, he's in 321. Every hotel that's more than 2 stories has a 321. It's a fucking lock. And they go, oh, well, I will just go ring him for you. You do that, thank you. You guys got what you fucking need? Pack it up, let's roll. Because I just didn't want the cops called. Which was all we really needed.
Not calling the cops on someone for like that would be a dick move of the dickest moves. How nice of a hotel are we talking? Are we talking 3-star, 4-star, 2-star?
I could not have afforded... None of us combined could have afforded to stay there for a night.
Okay.
If we turned out our fucking pockets, we could not have got a room. So, very nice, and it's you kind of just got that feeling that they were not going to put up with us.
Sorry about that.
We ended up stealing Wi-Fi from Cartoon Network. We went out to Adult Swim. We found ourselves near Adult Swim Studios, and they're like, holy shit, they have public Wi-Fi. Well, connect, damn it!
A place I would not expect to have public Wi-Fi.
Neither would I, but they did, so we hooked up. And here's what we found. There was a very large establishment on the outskirts of Atlanta that was 18 and up. And we were going, hell yeah, boys. Let's ride.
All right.
So we get there, and massive place. But it looks kind of like a barn, you know? And we're kind of going...
Not a good sign.
Well, we're checking the crowd, and we're going, what do we think about this? And Kevin points out, well... Hell, there's a couple of black guys in the parking lot. It has to be kind of cool.
Okay, I suppose that is a type of reasoning.
Well, when you're looking for a club, I guess, in Atlanta, you don't want the whites-only establishment.
You really don't. The Chris Rock did a documentary called Good Hair, and it's all about various things that black people do to try and style and keep up with their hair. And holy shit, Relaxer eats through Coke cans. So when you see a black girl with nice straight hair, realize what she's been through for that. But the thing starts off with him saying, "Our story begins at the place where all great black decisions are made, Atlanta."
Yeah.
And that does seem to be true.
Yeah, when you're looking for a club in Atlanta, the whites only place ain't where you want to be. Not unless you hard in a whole new kind of way.
Yeah.
So, now what we didn't notice at the time was the direction these gentlemen were walking away from the building. So we get up there to the bouncer, who is the biggest 12-year-old I've ever met. He was...
What do you mean biggest 12-year-old you've ever met?
7 foot tall, if he was an inch, and baby-faced as a motherfucker.
Okay.
If I'd pulled my gun and said, I will stand here for the next 6 months, grow a beard, he'd have been clean. Had this high-pitched voice. Now, my friend Craig and I have a bad habit of running into gentlemen like that.
Yeah.
But that's another story.
Oh, God.
So he goes, and I'll never forget anything about this kid, ever. Especially his hand gestures. We go, hey man, what's going on? He goes, well, there's a $20 cover tonight. $20? What the hell's going on? Mm-hmm. We got a concert. All right, who's playing? Colt Ford.
I've never heard of Colt Ford.
Excuse me. Boys, anybody heard of Colt Ford? No. Understand, I was captain of my college's trivia team and pop culture was my business. If I ain't heard of you, you ain't a thing. Colt Ford is, and here's how I said, all right, buddy, you got me. I got no clue who Colt Ford is. Break it down for me. And this is what he says. He goes, oh, he's awesome. It's like country, but he raps it.
Wait.
Swear to God, he did it. So
I'm picturing a slightly thinner version of the Kingpin from Marvel making that gesture.
Breaking it down 90s style, yo.
Okay.
Yeah, so I turn around to my friends and all right, boys, it's like country, but he raps it. Next thing I know, $20 is in the air from all of us. All right, here you go. We walk in there and we expect country rap.
Crap.
It's what we got. There's a large Canadian tuxedo wearing gentleman on the stage. For those of you that don't know, that's all denim everything. Yeah. Caterwauling his hit, Meet Me at the Waffle House.
You're shitting me. His hit is about fucking Waffle House.
Meet Me at the Waffle House. I will give you a moment. Look it up. Listen to it. Take it in.
The jukebox, this was the most astonishing thing to me. The jukebox at the Waffle House used to be nothing but songs about the Waffle House.
Point is, he has one called Meet Me at the Waffle House. Here's what I see when I look in. Alabaster. This place is white as it can fucking be. Toilet bowl, son, left to right.
A piano with no flats or sharps.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is a sausage fest like you would not believe.
I think I'd believe it.
485 people, 5 sets of teeth. Us and Colt. So it's pretty much, all right, guys, you paid your money. Have your fun. Kevin goes off to Shark Pool, which is what he used to do. I go to the bar to try and snatch a drink. What I do. Craig, because he is a very pretty man, lands one of the only acceptable-looking women in the place. And then Jordan, who is like a knockoff Craig, goes for bulk and gets like 5. But they're just in a circle and he's like talking to them. But the problem is, so here's him and this circle of women and this much larger circle of stilted gentlemen who very much wish he weren't bogarting all the ladies.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So you'll have to hear how that turns out next time.
Those of you folk who've never been to a southern redneck bar, this is not going to end well. But that's all we got for today. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, follow on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, yada yada, Google+. Let us know if you have any questions for us. Leave them in the comments down below. We will try to get to everyone we get. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Bye, guys.